Hey, everybody. So today is day 2 of our online learning experience. It's St. Patrick's Day, so a happy St. Patty's Day to all of you. You've just finished reading the poem Ozymandias yesterday and talking about it a little bit. If you haven't done that, please go back and make sure that you do. Mr. Klasner has asked us to arrange all assignments for the first week under the heading Online Learning Week 1. I've tried to put dates to go with it. If it's a little bit difficult, you're a little bit confused, shoot me a text and I will explain it to you. Again, all of my information is posted in Google Classroom somewhere below this, okay? So somewhere down there on the stream. You just might have to scroll back a little bit. So yesterday you read Ozymandias, and I just wanted to go over a few key things in that poem, kind of go over the theme, the big metaphor that we're going over, because it's going to set up this next unit, which will hopefully be completed back at school in a couple of weeks. So in Percy Bysshe Shelley's Ozymandias, he writes about a traveler running into or encountering a statue, all right, in the desert wastelands. There's nothing around but this gigantic stone statue that's broken and falling apart. It's just two trunks, two legs sticking up into nowhere, and there's a head, a shattered visage laying in the sand. But very clearly on the pedestal where the legs are, you can see this message. All right, this message announcing that this is Ozymandias, and look at the great things all around this statue that he's done, and know that you should be afraid of him because he's important and he's powerful and he's, a big, scary, important dude. But when you look around, there's nothing there. And that's because these people, these leaders, historically it's usually men, but these men who have done these things that at the very least they consider to be great in life, they don't have the understanding in the moment that their greatness is only temporary. All right, so the things that they do, the things that they destroy to create this power for themselves, the question of are they worth it? Is doing a horrible thing worth it for a little bit of power for a little bit of time? And we've talked about Locke and Hobbes as man naturally good versus man naturally bad. We've talked about Machiavelli, do the ends justify the means? We've talked about Dante and how we pay for our sins. We've talked about so many things that lead up to this unit where we get to talk about people. But we're talking about a very particular type of person. And that is this great, powerful, potentially dangerous man who's leading a government or a country or a monarchy. And again, historically, it's been men. It is sometimes women, but mostly we're talking about guys here. I'm sorry for that. We're going to work on it. Towards the end of this unit, we'll talk about women a little bit more. But these really, really potentially bad guys, they tend to be dudes here. So that's what we're focusing on. So coming out of Ozymandias, we're going to start to talk for a day or two about Augustus Caesar and the Pax Romana, or the Roman peace. It was the longest period of time in the Roman Empire where they weren't at like a huge war all the time. So that sounds like a great thing, right? The Roman peace. But we're going to talk a little bit about how Augustus and the Caesars accomplished that. We're going to talk about Genghis Khan, leader of the Mongol hordes, and some of the truly horrific but effective ways that he took and kept power. We're going to talk about monarchies, particularly monarchies in England, the kings and queens of England. We're going to talk about the Wars of the Roses. We're going to talk about Henry VIII. Oh, what a bastard he was. We're also going to jump forward into the 20th century, and we're going to meet Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia. We're going to talk about him and the mad monk Grigory Rasputin and how they left a legacy for that country for the last 100 years or so. And then hopefully we'll be back in school by this point, but we'll finish up with William Shakespeare's Macbeth. So we'll do some acting. If we're not in class, we're going to find a way to do an acting through our phones and through our Chromebooks, and we're going to go from there. So again, Ozymandias, this physical representation in the statue of power and legacy that is really only temporary. It's this illusion of permanence that comes with power that is, in reality, very, very fleeting. And then Augustus Caesar with the Pax Romana, Genghis Khan and the Mongol hordes, British monarchy and absolute power. We're going to talk about the War of the Roses. Henry VIII, quite the bastard. Then we're going to talk about Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, and Grigory Rasputin, the Mad Monk. And finally, we're going to learn about William Shakespeare's Macbeth. That's where we're at. Take a look at the next video and Edpuzzle that are coming up, and I will talk to you guys soon. One last note, actually. So we are going to have the live doc again in Google Classroom to see if they opened up chats for today, Tuesday the 17th. Wednesday the 18th, we are going to try some new stuff. So at the very least, I need to have heard a check-in from you. I need to know that you're online, that you're doing something by Wednesday the 18th. If you have some other kind of problem, shoot me a text so that I know, please. And we'll go from there. I hope everybody's well. Stay safe.